Hello class, I am Jovelin Florentino. Today I am teaching you defining and non-defining relative clauses. Let's get started. Relative clauses give information about the words they follow, and they begin with relative pronouns. In this table, we have some examples of relative pronouns, their usage, and some examples. Relative pronoun who is used for people. An example could be, the woman who called yesterday wants to buy the house. Relative pronoun which is used for things and animals. For example, I love the dog which is barking. Relative pronoun whose is used for possessions of people or animals. For example, he is a man whose opinion I respect. Relative pronoun whom is used for people when the person is the object of the verb. For example, the author whom you like just wrote a new book. Relative pronoun that is used for people, things, and animals as well. For example, the girl that we met in France has sent us a card. Relative clauses can be defining when some extra information in the clause is needed and it shows us which person is being described or talked about. Or they can be non-defining when the extra information is not necessary to define or describe the person or to understand the sentence. Let's look at the grammar of the defining relative clauses. The actor who starred in that movie is very talented. You can also read it this way. The actor that starred in that movie is very talented. She has a son who is a doctor. She has a son that is a doctor. Notice the use of the relative pronouns who and that in these sentences. Now let's look at the grammar for the non-defining relative clauses. Tom Cruise, who starred in that movie, is very talented. Tom Cruise, who starred in that movie, is very talented. My sister, who I live with, knows a lot about cars. My sister, who I live with, knows a lot about cars. In this case, you can see how we use commas to separate the different parts of the sentence. This is a good way to also identify non-defining clauses. Notice we don't use relative pronoun that with non-defining clauses. Some examples could be, for the defining relative clauses, the contractor who built this house was my dad's best friend. Or you can read it this way. The contractor that built this house was my dad's best friend. The police arrested a man who Jill worked with. Or you can also read it this way. The police arrested a man that Jill worked with. Some examples for the non-defining relative clauses could be: Bill Shannon, the contractor who built this house, was my dad's best friend. My bicycle, which I've had for more than 10 years, is falling apart. Notice how we separate the sentences using commas. Now, go practice and see you next time. Bye.